Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. GATE program to go online. Draft National Integrated Solid Waste Resource Management Policy for Trinidad and Tobago. And citizens give their opinion on the Dog Control Bill. To our top story, thousands of tertiary education students wishing to access government funding for their university studies will soon be able to do so online. This comes as the Government Assistance for Tuition Expenses or GATE program plans to introduce an online option.
As the government aims to ensure at least 60% of secondary school students access tertiary education, plans are afoot to make access to that level of education easier. Minister of Tertiary Education and Skills Training, Senator the Honorable Fazal Karim, announces the development of Online Government Assistance for Tuition Expenses or GATE program. The minister says this is being done through collaboration with the Singaporean government. The program will cost approximately $275,000. Minister Karim explains eGate, as it is being called, will have a significant impact on the efficiency of the funding program.
Students will be able to apply for GATE funding online, something that is not possible at this stage, avoiding the time-consuming manual application process that is currently in place. 2, tertiary level institutions, the TLIs, will be able to review and verify applications submitted by students and requests for corrections online, while being able to track and monitor the status of batches of applications submitted to the GATE office. And thirdly, the Funding and Grants Administration Division will be able to process GATE clearance, which is something that is required for students moving up into their further years of study, and GATE applications much faster, as the e-service system will automate a significant number of activities, eliminating redundant processes to help speed up the processing cycle.
The Tertiary Education Minister believes this new online service will ensure the ministry better meets its mandate. If all goes according to plan, Minister Karim aims to have the system implemented within a matter of months.
It is estimated that the e-service will enable the Funding and Grants Administration Division to achieve one of its main objectives of being able to complete GATE clearance in 2 weeks and process GATE applications in 6 weeks, while significantly reducing operational costs and increasing efficiency and productivity drastically. We expect that this solution plan will encompass a period of approximately 23 weeks. Upon the approval of this note today, we propose that by the end of this month, we will begin the negotiations and the process with Singapore IDAI International. We therefore expect to go live with this solution in January of 2014.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
Cabinet has accepted the draft National Integrated Solid Waste Resource Management Policy for Trinidad and Tobago. This according to Local Government Minister and Minister of Works and Infrastructure, Dr. the Honorable Surajratan Rambachan, who is speaking at today's post-cabinet briefing. He says this is a major step towards properly dealing with solid waste in creating more land space.
We are very concerned as a government with the whole area of solid waste management, garbage disposal, and what have you. And as a small island developing state with a limited land mass, we believe that we cannot continue to prematurely saturate landfill capacity with all waste types, which of course will culminate in the creation of new sites when there's a need, and therefore we'll just have site upon site upon site, which is a very ineffective and inefficient, but probably a health hazard approach to dealing with solid waste.
Dr. Rambachan is reiterating that government identifies the need to take steps like these, especially in light of its desire to expand the tourism sector.
Given what we anticipate to do in the economy with respect to the expansion in tourism industry, which with its resulting waste volumes and so on, we need to take some action. And this policy document, therefore, is timely in terms of what it will propose and how it will propose to deal with solid waste management as a whole.
In other news, the dog control bill, which is currently before the Parliament, is intended to ensure that dog owners take the necessary measures to ensure his or her dog does not cause injury to citizens. Members of the public were today given the opportunity to give their opinion on the bill, which will replace the Dangerous Dogs Act 2000.
There have been countless stories of dogs attacking and in some cases killing persons. However, in the government's attempt to rectify the situation, a new piece of legislation has been brought to the Parliament. TV4 went to the streets of Port of Spain where we asked the citizens what they made of the Dogs Control Bill 2013.
My general consensus on it is that I believe it's a good bill. However, I'm not too keen on how they class a dog as dangerous, because any dog could be classed as dangerous in my opinion. I like the idea that they actually choose to give these sentences and stuff.
Well, I think there are lots of things that they have to consider, because one, they can't just drop that legislation and expect everyone to follow it. There should be a period of transition. Say, well, you need to get your dogs insured and get all of those things handled in a period of 6 months.
I think it's a good legislation. I think it's a step in the right direction. But I also think that some effort has to be placed on the dog owners, not only for the dangerous dogs and what their actions may be, but also for the care of the dogs. I think greater attention should be paid on to how these owners are looking after these dogs, and they should have to bear some of the responsibility also for making sure that not only the dangerous dogs, but there are stray dogs and other kinds of dogs on the streets that are a threat to people on the whole.
It makes sense, and it is something positive to do towards the whole situation, towards, the dogs attacking persons coming out on the streets or walking on the streets, because at times I am fearful for my own personal safety while walking on the streets going home. You're seeing dogs coming outside, you're fearful for your own security. Sometimes I feel like walking with weapons to protect myself. But yes, it is a positive, a good idea, and I am, pleased about it.
I think that it is a good legislation to put in place, because it's a good preventive measure. Because if you are the owner of a dangerous dog, in the first place to begin with, you should have things in place to make sure that your dog is secure. And these things shouldn't even be happening. You understand? If you own an animal like that. So if they put these things in place, the first thing is like when people put on their seatbelts, they do it more now because of the fine, right? So if this is in place, I think that owners, they will take more preventive measures to ensure that these kind of things don't happen. So yes, I definitely think that they should do it.
My concern is now that all the breeders and those people, they're going to abandon the pit bulls, and it has already started. I've seen reports from TTSPCA that people have started abandoning these pit bulls, and now they're out on the streets. So that is a great concern. That is something that the government should address as well, because you're going to have hundreds of dogs out on the road, and that is a big issue.
A lot of people are blaming the dogs in this matter, and being a dog lover myself, you can train a patong to be vicious. It's not really a matter of the breed of dog itself, and the dogs that they're accusing as well, pit bull obviously, but Japanese Tosa and all these other dogs, we don't have those dogs here. So some parts of the legislation needs to be revamped.
With the debate on the Dog Control Bill 2013 set to continue in the Parliament on Friday, one now has to wonder if owning a dangerous dog is really worth it. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
When we come back, citizens express their view on government's role in labor. Stay with us. Welcome back. On Wednesday, citizens made their way to Avocat Junction, Faizabad, to be a part of the annual Labor Day March and celebrations. News 4 took to the streets where citizens gave their opinion on the direction Labor has been heading and the government's involvement.
On the occasion of Labor Day 2013, union leaders and hundreds of union members walked arm in arm to Charlie King Junction, Faizabad, to commemorate the Butler Oilfield riots, which took place on June 19, 1937. The day, which was declared a national holiday in 1973, has been looked at as a time when workers come together to celebrate their rights and freedoms and to show solidarity. One day after the Labor Day celebrations, citizens shared their views on the government's role when it comes to labor in this country. Many praised the numerous programs and initiatives by the government in addressing labor issues, while others called for more to be done.
I would say I am a contract officer from the government, and I came off of OJT. Because of OJT, I have the job that I have today. And I like the way that is going, and they just need to develop their skills training a little more. And the OJT went from 6 months to 2 years, which is a big step, and I find it's a good initiative so far.
Yes and no. To me, I find they taking their own personal time. I believe that they could put an extra foot forward, because a lot of persons out here working really hard for their income, and they're not getting the support from the government as they're supposed to. They have to go that extra mile to put that extra pressure on the government to get that support. And I feel that they should sit down and seriously, work towards making persons who are working in the country much more happy and comfortable. So I still look forward to coming to work.
I find the approach with certain things is just, well, let's drop a law, let's drop a legislation and expect it to be fixed. That's not going to help the situation. They need to do a little more research, find out why it is the people themselves, even that they're upset about something, their knee-jerk reaction is protest. So they need to, a lot of more research has to be done before they just drop legislation, I find.
Yes, I think they are doing as much as they probably can do, but one of the experience that I have had in recent is that you mentioned the OJT, right? It's good that they are offering these opportunities to the young people out there, but I happen to know that in some of the ministry offices where they are giving these opportunities to the young people, there is no structure in place for when they actually go out to work, for work to be left there for them to do. I know of a few young people right now who have been given the opportunity to work under the OJT program and also in the university internship program, and they are going out to work, but there is no structure in place for them to have any kind of guidance to follow or to gain any real experience. So that is something I think should be looked into. Yes, they're trying, but you have to make sure that there is a proper program in place for these young people so when they go out there, they learn the right way of handling themselves when they go out to the jobs later on, and not just going there and collect a salary for working X amount of hours.
The government continues to reaffirm its position as a friend to labor in this country as it seeks to address the countless issues that the working class faces on a daily basis. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Senator the Honorable Fazal Karim, Minister of Tertiary Education and Skills Training, plans to create more on-the-job training opportunities for young persons in Trinidad and Tobago. He reveals this while speaking with residents of Dow Village.
Minister Karim, accompanied by representatives from many of the ministry's agencies, has embarked upon a series of community conversations throughout the country. The first stop on this community series took place in Dow Village. At the event, residents are encouraged to interact with Minister Karim, the chairman of NTEST agencies, and other representatives. Citizens can also use the opportunity to learn about the ministry's programs and services. Minister Karim, speaking to the media at the event, says there are plans to improve one of the ministry's programs, the On-the-Job Training Program, or OJT. He says plans are afoot to inject an additional $20 million into the program. This, he says, will allow for capable and improved workforce.
What we are asking for is additional sums of money to expand the program, because as you are aware, this is the month of May. Examinations are finished, and many of our young boys and girls, not only those who are graduating and look for employment, but those who are moving from year 1 to year 2 or year 2 to year 3 or whatever have you, transitioning towards continuous education. We expect that the bill will be passed, that will be supported by all, and we'll be able to employ a lot more persons in the sector. Currently, we have about 7,000 persons on the on-teacher training program, and with this additional money, we will have a few more thousand persons as we really improve the quality of the work experience and the preparation for young persons in the workforce.
Minister Karim also plans to introduce a new program which will create competent human resources for the energy sector. He adds that the National Energy Skills Center will play a major role in the formation of this entity.
In the case of Point Lisas, the initiation of a Point Lisas Industry Apprenticeship Program. We expect that program will start in September. We have the discussions are far advanced, and it's going to be responsive to the skills needs of the energy companies on the estate. And the NESC is going to play a very important role.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
Sport is up right after the break. Stay with us. The Trinidad and Tobago Football Association has agreed to terms with former Real Madrid, Holland, and TNT national team coach Leo Beenhakker, who successfully guided the Soca Warriors through World Cup qualification and the final round of the 2006 FIFA World Cup in Germany, as well as former Canada national team coach Stephen Hart, who guided Canada to the semi-final round of the 2011 CONCACAF Gold Cup, to join its ranks in time for the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Beenhakker will serve as the director of football, and Hart will assume the role of head coach of the senior national men's team. As director of football, Beenhakker will help shape the brand of the TTFA national team programs, mentor and advise TNT national team coaches, and provide a long-term structure in the way TTFA national teams operate. Mr. Beenhakker will observe the Gold Cup pool and eventual squad that should be at training camp and accompany the team to the U.S. as part of the Trinidad and Tobago delegation. Mr. Hart, who comes highly recommended by Mr. Beenhakker to fill the role as head coach, is a San Fernando, Trinidad native who began his playing career in Trinidad and Tobago and built his post-playing career in Canada through the Canadian Soccer Association within the coaching and development ranks. Hart earned praise for taking an unheralded Canada team to the semi-final round in the 2011 Gold Cup and in 45 matches as head coach of Canada. He compiled a record of 20 wins, 10 draws, and 15 losses. More news after this. Stay with us. The Standard 5 pupils of the Rusilac Presbyterian School have now graduated, and they are looking forward to secondary school. But before departing, they were privy to some words of guidance for their life journey.
They say that graduation is a process that goes until the last day of your life. However, the students of the Rusilac Presbyterian Primary School will hold their most significant day of graduation close to their hearts as being among the many defining moments in their life. Proud friends and family of the 27 students that made up the 2013 graduating class gathered at the Rusilac Presbyterian Church for the graduation ceremony themed "This World is Yours." Delivering his first principal's report as principal of the primary school, Mr. Keith Sanka noted that a school requires a particular rule different from the way many other institutions are run.
Sir Giovanni, an educator, stated, "Schools are not buildings or curriculums. Schools are about relationships." As principal, I believe that maintaining positive and productive relationships will enhance the status, image, and performance of the Rusilac Presbyterian School. A school is not about equipment or machinery, but live human beings we call people.
The featured speaker was Minister of the People and Social Development, Dr. the Honorable Glenn Ramadar Singh. He gave the students words of wisdom and encouraged them to be the change they wanted to see in the world. Using many local and foreign examples, the Honorable Minister spoke of countless conveniences and achievements that were accomplished by young persons such as themselves.
Your school supervisor told you that this is not the end of studies. And indeed, we live in the world of lifelong learning. It is either you learn or die. You become obsolete, irrelevant. Every day, the computer, which started off as big as this room here, is becoming smaller and smaller. And by the way, everything becoming a computer. Your watch, your phone, and your comb. And therefore, we have to adhere to the tenet of continuous learning throughout life, to continue to become relevant, useful, and progressive in life.
All the speakers at the graduation ceremony sought to prepare the graduates for the next chapter in their lives. They were encouraged to dream big, think big, and make the world theirs. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.